Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to do a roundup of how the USE minis unfolded yesterday, but using our MTP-RT add-ons for NinjaTrader 7, which is what you're looking at here. To start with, I'd like to have a look at the Russell Index, because this is what I was looking at in yesterday's training webinar, and let's start with the 15-minute chart. Here's the 15-minute chart. This is yesterday, which was December the 5th. So what I was suggesting in yesterday's webinar is if you go back to the prior swing pivot high, which is what I'm circling here, right mouse click, we had a decision point on our chart there, which actually nailed the very high of the day yesterday, which was a very nice position to be in. So this was the clearest 15-minute chart early in the day, and I just want to put a box around this so we can then take it down to a 3-minute chart to show you what I was talking about in the webinar. So remember, these decision points are placed on the chart in advance. They're leading indicators. So before the market even opened yesterday, you knew about this resistance area. So let's go down to the 3-minute chart and see how it looks. Well, there it is. As you can see, it nailed the high of the day absolutely perfectly. The Russell Index then declined absolutely beautifully, and what I was suggesting was a trade setup off this red sell bar. I did suggest trying to set one up off this first red sell bar, but as you can see, it would have never been triggered because the low of the bar was never exceeded. So your next attempt would have been off this bar, and in the webinar I was suggesting at the very least you could be trailing with your ATR stop down here because the STF was strong. So this would have been a nice 3.3 hour profit, so a very nice trade indeed. The interesting point is the decline down here actually unfolded, if I do the right mouse click, Elliott Wave Intermediate, as an ABC into the typical wave CWPT. And also at this point in time here, which is about 11 o'clock, if we now skip over to the ES, which as we know is the boss, and we go to the 15-minute chart, what we were saying at the time was the 15-minute ES, again if I put the DP on, so we were doing this in the webinar yesterday and showing that as the ES was declining down here, it was entering this decision point support zone, so we were suggesting that the decline was probably coming to an end and we should anticipate a rally, which obviously unfolded beautifully, and particularly also on the YM. The YM was the cleaner market, because if we look at the prior pivot here, if we then now do the decision point from here, can you see how the YM came down at the same time as the ES into this low absolutely beautifully? Just there. There it is. Right at that low perfectly. For those of you who were on the ball yesterday, if we now go down to the 3-minute chart of the YM, and we zoom in a bit here, I just want to zoom in a bit. Can everyone see how, if I put the cursor on, crosshairs on, that this was the prior low, this bar here, which was 1057, made a new move significantly below this low, a nice wide range bar moving down here to new lows. We also had on this bar our what we call our VSA setup, which was this our red bar here. This was shouting at us that there was increased volume in this particular bar here, therefore it was a bar of interest. Now normally amateur traders, if they see a wide range bar on high volume breaking a prior low, in other words going down like this, they say, oh, that's new selling, so they want to sell, and very often this happens. The market then makes a turn, reverses back. So what is actually happening? Well, as we outline in our training, if we have a high volume VSA bar like this, the first thing we look for is to see whether the market is entering a support zone, which in this case it is exactly. I can put the DP off here as well on the 3-minute chart, and not only on the 3-minute chart, which was this decision point here, but also the larger degree 15-minute DP, that's the important one, was also coming into this same zone here as well. So what does that mean? It means, well, that this volume here may not be selling. We have to look at the next bar to see what happens, and there it is. The next bar there is a blue buy bar that reverses back up after finding support at the decision point low. So that means that this volume in this bar here is not selling, it's actually buying. It's actually professionals buying off the amateurs to then push the market higher. Now when this happens, we very normally or very often get a very strong move, and as you can see, that's exactly what happened where the move went strongly off the low here. Our initial target for this would be the DP of this prior pivot, which is here, and let's set up a trade off this. So risk reward of that blue buy bar just below the low into that target would be approximately 3.7R. When the market gets to this level, we come down to the STF. You can see now the STF is strong, and we also know that because this is professional buying coming in here, odds on they're going to move the market even higher. So the STF strength combined with the professional buying means that the market's probably going to go higher. Therefore, it's a good idea to use the ATR stop. That would have taken us up into this level here. So let's now readjust the profit and see what it would have been by using the ATR stop. There it goes, all the way up there, up there, up there, to stop us out about there. And as you can see, the result was a lovely, if I scroll over, a lovely 6.4R profit at that particular point in time there. But not only that, it means you're actually buying off the very low of the day. So that was a very good result. So for the advanced traders yesterday, there were some very good setups here where we had the support level on the YM and the ES on our 15-minute charts in advance that nailed the lows of the day, and then on the YM in particular, because it came in right into the support level a lot nicer than the ES, we then had on the 3-minute chart, which is what I'm looking at here, our VSA setup that gave us the indication that this was now professional buying coming in at the low, and that gave us a trade setup off the low of the day there into what was pretty much the high of the day. And also, as I've already shown you, we then had a very nice trade on the Russell Index earlier in the day where you would have been coming off the high of the day earlier on. So a very good trade for a very good day for the advanced traders among you using MTPredictor. For the standard traders among you, there are also some nice automatic trades later in the day. For example, on the NQ, there was a TS4 buy setup here that didn't really go anywhere. It just went into an opposing TS4 sell. The STF was black in this particular circumstance. You could take both longs and shorts. So this would have been basically a very small profit off here going into this this TS4 sell, where you'd have been stopping and reversing and then caught a nice 3.1R profit as the market declined pretty much at the end of the day. So there were some nice automatic setups on the markets yesterday, but for me the star of the show was first and foremost our trade off the high of the day in the morning in the Russell Index, and then also the trade off the low of the day, as we've already seen on the YM, which is what we caught down there. I'll just put the risk reward on there because it just shows how good these VSA setups are. When you get the professionals coming in and doing the same as what you're doing, you tend to get strong moves, which is why you tend to get profits or big profits which are much greater than the initial risks. Remember, we use correct position sizing to keep the initial risk small and under control, and ideally have profits that are much larger than the initial risks, which is exactly what unfolded on this VSA setup from the low of the day on the YM yesterday. And again, it was all caught because we had this 15-minute, remember if I go back to the 15-minute chart, we had this 15-minute DP support, I'll put it on again, on the 15-minute chart, on the chart there in advance. So we were ready for this even before the market got down there. And that's the beauty of these DP levels, because they are leading indicators and prepare you for support and resistance zones like this in advance.